hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to have the ratifications of the old business. The applicant is Mario Napoliani. Assessors plot map 80, lot 13, zone R20. This is the ratified decision approving a variance to road frontage and lot area.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we ratify that decision.
Second motion?
All right, motion's made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Application of Joshua Carrera, 580 Sisson Road. Assessors plot map 321, lot 32, zoned RR5. Ratified decision to deny an application for the special use permit to operate a door kennel. Do I have a motion to ratify? Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Next application is Stephen and Mary Walsh, 42 Raymond's Point. Do I have a ratification to approve a special use permit to demolish the existing non-conforming structure and build a 3-bedroom unit?
So moved.
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Michael Marietti, 840 Whaley Howell Road. Assessors plot map 311, lot 32, zone RR3. Ratified decision to approve a dimensional variance to construct a detached garage 30 feet in height where 19 feet are allowed. Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Motion is made by John,
Second.
seconded by Russ. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Final application. Okay, we have the application that is, I'm sorry.
Andrew
Cady, 99 Pembroke Lane, assesses plot map 40, lot 22, zoned R20. Ratification of decision approval dimensional variance to construct a 20 by 24 detached garage and a side yard with 10 feet 3 inches side yard setback. 20 feet is required, 20 feet in height, 15 is required.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we ratify that decision.
Second.
I have a motion made, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. This time here we have a continuance from 11/1 for further review of FR's Home Improvement is the applicant. Address is 53 Raymond's Point. I believe the attorney is here for this.
I am. My name's Lou Baldy. I have offices at 445 Budlong Road in Frankston, Rhode Island.
Can't hear.
Okay, at this time here, also I'd like to point out, I will sit down for this because I am a neighbor of this application.
Yeah, the word. Keep going. You don't want to bring it up and get closer to
This is scary. This is an application for a special use permit and a dimensional variance to build a 12 by 40 foot composite deck on the front of this house. The house is located at 53 Raymond's Point Road in Coventry. As the board already knows, on Raymond's Point we have a covenants committee, and that covenants committee reviews all the applications and more or less looked at as our mini zoning board. I think in front of the board tonight is the approval letter from the covenants committee giving their approval for this person to build this 12 by 40 deck. If we go down the laundry list of requirements needed for a special use permit in this kind of situation, the applicant meets all of those. This is strictly a summer residence. It's not, it's never going to be...
Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Baldy is testifying as a witness on this, he needs to be sworn in, please.
raise your right hand, please.
I will.
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in front of this board?
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed.
As I previously said, the applicant wishes to build a 12 by 40 deck, which is in the front of the house and wraps around the side of the house to the side entrance. The deck is going to be a composite deck, and he needs a special use permit to allow construction of the deck, but he also needs a dimensional variance because the town of Coventry feels that the lake bed is where the setback has to be measured from the lake to the home and the deck. And I think he needs about a 23-foot, the rear setback should be 90 feet, but I think he needs 23 to 25 foot worth of dimensional variance in order to construct the deck. Other than that, I have nothing further.
Did you say this is on the front of the house?
Well, that's always a bone of contention when you're dealing with, some people consider the lakeside the front of their house, some people consider the roadside the front of their house.
Okay, just because the application says on the back. Or the, you know, these
I would
so
say
it's the lake side.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The town of Coventry is now determined they're going to measure all of the frontage from the lakeside, as opposed to the roadside.
Okay, it's my understanding that you need a special use permit because it's non-conforming.
Correct. All the property, Raymond's Point is sort of a unique property in the town of Coventry. None of the properties down there, I would say, with the exception of maybe 3 out of the 50 houses, would conform to any type of zoning down there, whether it be dimensional or special use permit. It is residential, it remains residential, and it remains a summer property as opposed to a year-round property.
So can you review the footprint of the change being proposed? Is it enlarging the existing footprint or keeping it?
It's not enlarging the footprint so far as the dwelling is concerned. It's enlarging the footprint where the deck is going to extend out from the house and then towards the lake side. And this isn't a frivolity, that the reason he wants to do this. It's more or less a necessity, because if you went down and looked at the property, they walk right out into the front yard. What he needs is, he needs a separation between that to keep people off the lawn. So I'm thinking that's why he's doing this.
So his deck is going to end up being 40 feet from the water. The edge of the deck will be 40 feet to the water?
I think the planner has that. I think he's going to be 45 feet.
No, the edge of his deck is going to be 23 to 25 feet from the water.
All right, that's, okay, then this is an old rendition that I have.
The existing house is like 35 feet from the water. He's adding on a 10-foot deck.
All right, this is not correct then.
A 10 or a 12-foot deck.
12
So that
foot.
would leave 23 to 25 feet to the water.
Okay.
Are there any DEM issues with that?
No. No, he didn't, there wasn't any permit needed because it's basically a temporary structure.
Okay.
It's attached to the house, but it's on posts.
Right,
It doesn't have its own foundation.
okay. Irene and Jean, do you have any other questions?
I just wonder, are there other homes in that plat that kind of have the same thing where their deck is closer to the water and,
I live there. I can see that house from my house. My house is closer to the water than his house.
that is,
All of them, I mean, most of them are right on the water.
okay,
I would say half are, some of them are 10, 15 feet from the water. So it's compatible with what's down there. It doesn't look garish, it doesn't look out of the ordinary. It
is
fits
the deck
in.
going to block anyone's view?
No,
or obstruct
no.
something? There's going to be no obstruction?
No. And the other thing is with the Covenants Committee speaks to the neighbors.
Okay.
So if the neighbors have a problem with it, then they would refine it so that you take in the neighbors' concerns. I think you can see my house.
Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions about that application? Anybody speak in favor of the application? Anybody speak in opposition to the application?
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes.
do you think you could have Mr. Attorney Baldy put something on the record regarding the criteria for the special use permit and dimensional variance so we have it for the record?
Under a special use permit, what's needed is safe ingress and egress relative to vehicles. There's plenty of parking. Ability of off-street parking, we have that. The adequacy of the trash storage and delivery, we have a container service that comes in. The need for screening and buffering, there is enough on the side of his property with trees and shrubs. There are no signs or exterior lighting. He's got the required yards and open space once the dimensional variance is granted. It's compatible with the abutting lots. The industrial standards don't apply to it. And it's compatible with the comprehensive plan as it's residential and they're all residential. And it will not create any conditions inimical to public safe, health, welfare, and law.
Thank you.
And so far as the dimensional variance is concerned, it's basically due to where the house is located, as it's that close to the pond. And I believe there was a deck on there before. And this gentleman rehabbed the whole property and took the deck down because it was a timber deck. He wants to put a composite deck. So one did exist before this one.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we vote on this tonight.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote. Russell?
Approve?
John?
I approve.
Irene? Approved. Jean? Approved. I also approve. Application's approved. You're welcome.
Okay, the next application, Cornerstone Adult Service. Can I have the secretary please read the application into the record?
The applicant is Cornerstone Adult Services. The owner is Our Lady of Czestochowa Church. Location of property is AP 56, lot 19.001, 222 MacArthur Boulevard. Zone is R20. Existing use is school building. Proposed use is adult daycare center. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to operate an adult daycare center in an R20 zone.
We have the attorney here, please.
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Cronin, Nolan, Renero, Cronin, for 1070 Main Street, Coventry RI, for the owner and applicant.
Okay, are you going to be giving testimony, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board.
I do.
Okay, please present your application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The focus of this application is the former Our Lady of Czestochowa School. The The applicant is Cornerstone Adult Services. Cornerstone currently operates on Wood Street in Coventry, next to the Coventry Senior Center. As the board is well aware, Coventry Police are redeveloping that site for their purposes. Cornerstone was not invited to the party. They were not allowed to stay in that, and they've been looking for a new spot. They have found one in the former school. The school's address is 222 MacArthur Boulevard, it's AP 56, lot 19. It's in an R20 zone. The entire parcel associated with the school is 4.6 acres. As you are aware, we're looking for a special use permit for health-related services. The proposal is to lease a portion of the school from the church and renovate the interior and entrance for an adult day center. The operations would mirror their current operations on Wood Street. The renovations of Wood Street are scheduled. They're under a little bit of time pressure to find a suitable venue to continue to offer services. So they're going to renovate and repurpose 6,500 square feet of the interior of the former school. To be blunt, the end away from the gym, right? I'd say, you know, that's without getting too fancy, right? The end away from the gym, or furthest from 174. The services that they provide to seniors and adults with disabilities, including nursing services, personal care, nutritional assistance, recreation, and exercise. The hours of operation remains consistent with what they currently are, approximately 7:30 to 4:30. None of those services are residential. No one stays overnight. This is a day service. There are currently 38 participants at Wood Street. You can accommodate a maximum of 50 in the proposed plan. The staff levels vary, but always consist of a program director, a nurse, CNAs, and some aides on the premises. As we noted, the existing school building will be used, and the structure of the building will not change. You'll enter MacArthur Boulevard off of Route 117, proceed to the far end of the building. There'll be a drop-off there. Most of the folks, clients that attend these day services come by special bus, ride type facilities. But, some, a good chunk, also get dropped off by daycare providers, their own family, or somebody gives them a lift over there. So the traffic will be throughout the morning and then throughout the evening, but not substantial. The parking will be behind the school for the staff. It's already there. The facilities for pickup of trash and things like that are already in existence and are not going to be changed in this proposal. There will be a sign, but the sign will be well within the zoning limits. If you drive by their facility now, you see they have a wooden sign out in front of Wood Street. It'll be very similar to that. Nothing backlit, neon, any of the things that we have expressed concern about, with regard to signs over the years. The proposed use is congruent with its historical use. Originally a school, it's been used for a few other purposes since then, but the hours of operation are about the same. The physical plant will not change. Pickup times and drop-off times will be about the same. There aren't any really noise, lighting concerns or anything like that. Surely would not affect the health and welfare of anyone who's living in that area. So that's the basic plan. The interior of the building, some of the classrooms would be widened or things like that, but the basic plan is going to stay the same inside as well, just be repurposed. There is a kitchen in there that the church maintains. You'll have access to that kitchen, but it'll also be shared by the church. We don't want to interfere with any festivals. So that's our proposal. If there's any questions, I have the folks from St. Elizabeth's who run Cornerstone, as well as some folks from the parish here with me tonight to address any of your concerns.
How long has Cornerstone operated at Wood Street?
Approximately 22 years, Mr. Chairman.
So they've been operating at 23 years, and Now, the traffic is only created by not the people who come in, or is it just not residents, but workers?
Well, there are at any given time approximately 8 workers, maybe a few more, a few less. They're there for the duration of the day. They have transportation that brings the clients in groups.
So they provide the transportation themselves?
It is provided to some of the folks, made available to some of the folks, and other people, the families bring them.
Okay, and the hours of operation are what?
7:30 to 4.
Okay, is it Saturday and Sunday, or just Monday through Friday?
It's mostly Monday through Friday. There might be a special event on a weekend, but the services themselves are Monday through Friday.
Pick up and drop off will be in the side parking lot or on the front yard on MacArthur Boulevard.
So if you look at the picture, Ms. Blackley, you see the end furthest away from the gym, there's a turnaround there, and that's where the drop off. Thank you. Away from both MacArthur Boulevard and from Washington Street.
The north end of the building.
Yes.
And
Are there-
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
There will be no exit onto Washington Street, 'cause there's a driveway that goes through there, which is,
That's right. That is not the plan. The plan is to come in up Washington Street, up MacArthur Boulevard, right to the north end of the school. There'll be a drop off there. That'll be the main entrance to the Cornerstone facility.
The entrance he's talking about is the egress, ingress for the church during services, pretty much.
Yeah. No, that is not proposed to be
Okay.
used.
We're going to use the back, the north side, and they'll be coming in from MacArthur and getting off the road.
Correct.
Thank you.
The transportation, is it busing, is it vans, it's a combination,
It's small buses.
small bus?
Okay, do you have anybody else you'd like to present, sir?
Not at this time.
Any other comments from the board? Any other questions from the board? Okay, sir, I'm going to ask you this time to take a seat. Anybody here like to speak in favor of this application? Or have a question on the application? Yes, sir, please step up.
From here, or what?
No, right at the microphone. Please give your full name and address.
My name is Stephen Hopkins. I reside at 208 Town Farm Road. And point of
What was
clarification,
your address again, sir?
208 Town Farm Road.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I do.
Okay, what was your question?
Just to clarify a point, I was wondering if renovation and operation privately funded or is this a publicly funded venture?
I'll let the attorney address that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Cornerstone is a wholly owned subsidiary of St. Elizabeth's Community, which is a not-for-profit corporation.
No town funding.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions on this application? And no questions at all on this application with respect to anything at all?
Mr.
Anybody like to
Chairman,
speak in opposition?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am. Please step up to the podium. I'm going to ask you to give your full name and address.
Joyce Kaczynski, 201 MacArthur Boulevard.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I'm sorry, can you please spell your last name for the record, please?
Kaczynski.
And you said 201 MacArthur?
201,
Thank you.
directly across the street from the entrance. I want to start by saying that my husband and I do not oppose to the Cornerstone Day Service being here. We are here today for safety reasons. That is what we oppose to, what the planned entrance is. Again, I live directly across the proposed entrance. To the north of this entrance, approximately 90 feet, is the entrance to the old Quidnick School, which is currently occupied by CCAP, the WIC program, Project Friends Treasure Chest, Fatima Lab, and the food bank. This is a very heavy traffic area. There's a speeding situation on MacArthur Boulevard as it is a connector from Route 117 to Fairview Avenue. Speeding can be very severe because it is a long downhill slope from the top of MacArthur Boulevard to Route 117. It's about a quarter of a mile or longer, where folks don't even think about hitting the brakes till they get to 117, and it's going to fly right by all this. Now we will have the additional traffic from, and I get different figures than Mr. Cronin presented. I personally went and visited the Cornerstone Day Center on Wood Street, where they told me currently they have 50 clients, and they anticipate to increase this to 60. They told me the drop-off time is from 7 a.m., not 7:30, not any big deal, but drop-off time is from 7 to 1, and their release hours are up to 4:30. So that's like all day. That's like all day. We would like to, my husband and I would like to invite the board to our home to observe this highly trafficked area in this safety situation. Why can't the entrance be in the back of the school where there is an already established parking lot, and this would eliminate 2 entrances of public buildings from being approximately 90 feet apart. Finally, in reviewing your plans, in seeing the reconfiguration of the new circular driveway, I hope they realize where the north side boundary is. It is not the fieldstone wall.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Cronin, I'm going to ask you to please step back up. You heard the concerns of your neighbor across the street. The driveway you have now is an existing curb coming in, correct?
That's correct, it's a former entrance to the school.
What was that used for, that curb cut?
Well, since it was used for the school, and since then there have been other tenants in the building, but that is the entrance that has been used. The property of the school does not have deeded access to Route 117 through the church parking lot, for lack of a better term. As the citizen suggested, we have to provide a proposal to the board that allows for public access to a public street. In fact, this particular application requires that the health-related facility be on a through street, near a state highway, access to a state highway. So, understandably, MacArthur Boulevard and Washington Street are both busy streets, but that's actually one of the things that the town zoning code is actually looking for in this situation. They want it to be not in a remote area. They want it to be a heavily traveled area. I don't think that we would add significantly to the traffic in the area, given the proposals. The speeding issue is not something that I can address myself. The clients of Cornerstone, for the most part, don't operate vehicles, so they're not really a direct correlation between the two subjects. And I'm not sure who the spokesperson spoke to, but the license for Cornerstone is for a maximum of 50 clients. So on average, they have 38 a day right now. Their license is for a maximum of 50, as I mentioned earlier.
Thank you. Any board members have any further questions? Would you like to have this application? Well, I think I'm going to go to the administration. Brian, have you reviewed the entrance on this? And what is your opinion?
Well, I have not been to the site to physically look at how everything is laid out. The comments in the staff report are limited to the extent that the use that has been applied for physical therapy and health-related services is only allowed in the R20 zone if it is located on an arterial road. I would consider 117 to be an arterial road. I personally would not consider MacArthur Boulevard to be an arterial road. However, the zoning board members may have a different opinion from me on that fact.
Okay, now, where it's presently located now on Wood Street is not a utility road, but
No, it's not.
it's located off of St. Bob. The traffic at that time there, I'm familiar with, is not heavily problem, other than now the school buses are out. I do not foresee this making any additional traffic more than what was there when it was a school.
I would agree with that.
My other concern with this one, actually, this should be less intensive as it was used as a school. A little bit more compatible with the budding neighbors. This does butt Village Main Street. The trash, is that handled by privately or is that handled by?
Mr. Cronin would be better suited to answer that question than I would. It all depends on what their plans are for the facility.
Okay. Mr. Cronin, how has it been handled in the past?
The proposed lease would join the facilities waste with the churches in a shared dumpster, privately.
Oh, so it's privately taken care of.
It
It's
will
not
be
a very
private. It'll be privately hauled.
Okay. So the egress is what's existing. It's just going to be changed around with the drop-offs. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. There is available off-street parking on this application as far as I can see for all the employees in the back. And we've also, the applicant has also created adequate drop-off zone and off-street parking. Trash has been taken care of. Utilities, there's going to be no change in utilities, I understand, in this application?
No.
Okay. Needs screening and buffering, there'll be no change in that
That is
application.
proposed.
Signs was addressed by the application, they're going to have another approved sign by the town standards. Okay. Quiet yard and open space, there'll be no change in that as existing. Compatibility, it should be less intense than previously used by the school. Compliance with industrial performance, I don't believe that's NA, non-applicable. General compatibility with a comprehensive plan. This area has been historically used as a school and Butts Village Main Street, commercial district. The objective is to serve the needs of the community, and this would do so. If this application was granted, would it create conditions that be compatible to the public safety and welfare of the community? I see no change in that. Any other members have any discussion on the use permit?
Well, the neighbor brought up the property line not being the fieldstone wall that's at that end of the building. Is there any question as to where the property line is? If it's not the wall?
Mr. Cronin, please.
Mr. Gray, this is the first time that's been presented, but the lease itself is for the building. So that we don't have a survey. There hasn't been any assertion that we'd be using the property up to the property line, for the use of Cornerstone or any associated use such as parking or drive. So it has not been investigated.
All right, only because your drop-off zone and everything is that end of the building where that wall is. So if any of your plans for that drop-off zone and the landscaping and everything in that area are impinging on a property line that's not further back, I would think you would want to know that.
I don't think it would interfere with the operations as we have proposed them currently, but, you know, I do not know where the property line is. That has not been investigated, either by the owner of the parish or by the applicant. So, the statement that it's not where we think it is on the fieldstone walls in a vacuum.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second that.
That we vote tonight. I have it seconded. Any discussion by the board?
I have a question for the neighbor. Mrs. Kaczynski?
I come back up.
Yeah.
Just want to vote.
Mrs. Kaczynski, you had stated that you don't believe that the rock wall is the boundary.
Correct.
Do you know approximately where it is?
I have been told where it is, and the last priest, Father Amrell, is the one who did the survey, and it was not done that long ago. So, and he told me, the neighbors on the other side of the wall about it.
He
The
told you
church,
this-
the church had it done, is what I was told.
Okay,
And there was a dispute about trees over the pool.
okay.
And our neighborly thing was to ask the church to take them down or trim them or something. And they said, basically, fast forward to the end, they said that the church did not own the fieldstone wall or those trees.
Okay.
That's your hearsay.
Well, it's from the owner. It's from the owner.
Of the neighboring property?
Yes.
Okay, do you know about how long that Father Amrell had it surveyed?
I don't know. I'm going to say that this information was relayed to us maybe a year and a half ago? A year and a half ago.
So you think it may have been done about that time?
I believe so, or just prior to it. Or, for all I know, Madam Chairman, it could have been done and no one did anything about it until someone questioned,
Okay.
you know, the trees.
Okay, all right.
But, and I mention it because the new configuration of the driveway, if it continues to be at that entrance, they're bringing that driveway, they're widening it, you know, it's...
Right, right, okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Green, could I address that a little more?
Yeah.
I apologize. There has been, as you're aware, let's back up a step. As you're aware, I appeared last month at the meeting and informed this board that we were asking for a continuance because of some cost concerns of the project. One of the items that has been changed due to the cost concerns from the original application is that wide circular driveway. That has been reduced and resubmitted as the current driveway. There'll be no change to the current driveway.
Okay.
There were some grandiose, you know, Las Vegas fountain kind of thoughts about that circular drive, and you know, but those have been scaled back, and it'll be the current driveway just as it is today.
So there will be no change to what's there now.
That's correct. And I apologize for that confusion. We did ask for that continuance in order to scale back the plans a little bit, and that was probably item 1A on that list.
I just wouldn't want to see you go through this whole thing and then have the people next door saying, you know, your driveway is now on my property, you know, so I just want to make that clear. Yeah. Mrs. Kaczynski?
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on that.
Their original proposal was going to go wider than the current driveway, but it's been scaled back now to the same size that his driveway is
So
now.
it's not going to be circular at all?
Mr. Chairman, may I go?
Should I sit this way?
No, stay right there.
See, I got one of those just this week.
Right. That was, we had to make a change, and this is the change of the, so it's It's not going to be that, it's going to be
So everybody's going to drive in and drive, they don't, there's no turnaround here at all.
that's correct.
So they're going to drive in and back out?
No, they drive in up here, turn around. So
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Okay, just down here, I have a motion we vote on this tonight. It's seconded. Any further discussion on the board? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Russ, how do you vote on this? Approve. John?
I approve.
Denise?
I approve.
Chair approves. Jean?
I approve.
Application is approved as presented. Okay, for the record tonight, another adjustment on the agenda. I understand, and I can be corrected by the associates, that the off of 117, the solar farm has been withdrawn, am I correct?
That's correct. The special use permit application was withdrawn today.
What's the title of the application?
That is WED Coventry 7 LLC.
Okay, so if anybody's here for that solar farm installation, that has been withdrawn. Yes, ma'am?
Just for clarification, could you, or Brian, or someone?
I can't hear you.
Can you identify myself?
No, I can't hear you.
Just for clarification, could you or someone explain exactly what withdrawn means? It's been withdrawn.
Withdrawn means they totally took it right off the board. As far as I'm concerned, they're not doing it. It's not being presented.
Okay, that's, okay.
What occurred was after the planning meeting last week where the master plan, the conditional master plan was rejected, the applicant was advised that it was the town's position that the zoning board could not consider the special use permit application because it didn't have the prerequisite approval from planning. It took them a while to come around to that conclusion, but as of today, we received a notification from the applicant that they were withdrawing the special use permit application. They did notify us that they do still intend to appeal the planning board's decision from last week, rejecting the conditional master.
Okay, is that an
Thank you
appeal?
for helping on that. I did not know that.
Is that an appeal that would come before the zoning board?
Yes, it would come here as a zoning board review first.
Okay, so could that possibly be on the next zoning board agenda?
Appeal it to us.
Why would they appeal to us?
That's the appeal process. That's the appeal process.
So they appeal to the zoning board with the planning board this time, correct?
Yes.
Even though they're going to appeal that there was no decision from the planning board?
There was a rejection.
There was a denial. There was a rejection of the
Oh, there was a
conditional master
rejection.
plan. Yes.
So they're going to appeal the
Denial of the
Denial.
conditional master plan application.
by the planning board to the zoning board. Okay, I
Correct.
understand that now. I did not understand.
So how would we be, how would residents be notified if that appeal is going to, or when that appeal would be heard?
The appeal cannot be filed until a written decision by the planning commission is signed and recorded in the land evidence records. So at minimum, nothing could be recorded until the next planning commission meeting. Realistically, because we heard that on a special planning meeting and there's a very short period of time, I would not expect to have a final written decision on that until the January planning commission meeting.
All right, so, but they'd have to re-advertise that, correct? That'd have to be all re-advertised.
It'll be advertised as part of their normal meeting agenda.
Right, but each butter would get, within 200 feet, would get notice.
No, because it's an appeal.
No, they would not get notice of the recording of the decision.
They wouldn't get notice of the appeal?
They would, you're talking about two different things.
Right.
She was asking about the recording of the decision from the planning commission.
But she also wants to know if she's going to be notified if when the appeal happens. Correct?
If she could call me in the office tomorrow, I
Yeah, but doesn't everybody
No, I just
know?
wanted to make sure, because there are several people here that would like to know, when it would come up again, or when the appeal would be, probably.
Just like it is now, they advertise it within 200 feet, it has to be re-advertised, and everybody notified within 200 feet.
Now, wouldn't the appeal just be noticed on the agenda
I think
for the
it would
zoning
just be
board?
on the agenda, but I can double check that in the morning.
Oh, the Kent Times.
Okay, nobody needs to pay that. Okay, thank you, no, that does clarify. Thank you very much.
I'm not correct. So you're gonna advertise this on its appeal?
It'll go on a regular agenda, won't it?
Yeah, go on a regular
It's
agenda.
a public hearing.
Public hearing,
It will be advertised.
advertised, and everybody within 200 feet will be notified.
I am not sure on that. I do not believe that that's the case, but I.
Not on appeal.
Not-
Mr. Chairman, I do not, it's all part of, it's all part of the same application. So the notice that went on initially is still good, like the 200 feet of butters, when they made their initial application, this is all part of one application. Now it's just being appealed to another board. So there would be no renotice of the 200-foot of butters. It would just be advertised.
So this is gonna go in front of planning again?
No, if they decide, what's going to happen is planning board's going to ratify the decision that they made. They're
Correct.
going to enter that decision on the record, it's going to be recorded in the land evidence records. And then pursuant to our zoning ordinance, the applicant has a right to appeal to this board as sitting as the zoning board of appeals. That meeting will be advertised and noticed pursuant to the Open Meetings Act on our agenda, and then we'll have a hearing on it.
All right, but on that open meeting act and that notice, would that be all to the people within 200 feet?
They are not, my understanding of the ordinance is that they do not get re-noticed because it's going to be advertised. It's all part of one application, it's not a new application. So the butters do not get notified of the 200 feet radius does not get notified.
Okay, I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I might ask, is that agenda going to be posted with the Secretary of State's website?
Yes.
So that they can keep checking that just.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. As
That
I
way
remember,
everybody's got a chance to know.
notice, that will be on the Secretary of State
Website.
It's also on the town calendar.
Okay.
The link is right there. Simply go to the front page, they'll see it, they'll see the meeting notice, click on it, and then they can pull that agenda up.
So I just want to be clear on this. Will be the zoning board of appeals, they're appealing the master plan approval.
If they may.
And then if we do uphold that, or allow it to go forward, then it comes in front of zoning again?
No, if you uphold the planning commission's decision, the applicant
No,
then
if we
has-
don't, if we don't uphold the decision, and say they're appealing the approval of the master plan, correct?
Right.
And if we say, if we do want to approve that master plan, then it comes in front of zoning again? As a zoning, in front of the zoning board
It
review?
would go back to
Planning,
planning.
and back to zoning again.
Right.
So it's got quite a process to go here. Now, when it comes back to zoning again, will the abutters then be notified of the zoning board review? Because we're going to service two different boards. One's an appeals board and one's a zoning board. So this will go on the zoning board's agenda if we reverse the decision of planning.
But it's the same
If-
application.
If they have to refile for the special use permit, then I believe there would be new written notice in accordance with the special use permit requirements because this has been withdrawn.
Okay. I just don't want them to be left out of the loop and they know that what's coming up on that exactly. So,
But you're probably talking quite a ways down the line at this point.
Yes, I have a question. No, this is on
On the solar project,
the what?
on the solar farm project.
No, this is what we're discussing, the solar farm.
Yes, yeah. No, my question is, it's my understanding that earlier in the year, there was a moratorium put on these projects simply because I guess there was no language in the town's master plan, sort of like trying to legislate something that doesn't exist. And so it's my understanding that they were trying to come up with some language that would just cover these projects. I wonder where that stands.
No idea.
Is the
That's
town,
something you'd have to
did that
address
moratorium?
at a further time to the town.
This application originally came into the town under a prior ordinance addressing solar farms, and it's proceeding in accordance with the ordinance that was in place at the time the application which was initially received. After that, the town created a moratorium and a new ordinance was drafted. That new ordinance went into effect in August, but it's not applicable to this project because the ordinance that applies is the one that was in effect when it was submitted to the town.
I think I understand. Thank you.
Ryan, I have a question about that. So if it was withdrawn, is it now subject to the new ordinance?
Correct.
Because if it's withdrawn, they have to reapply, correct?
No, because the application that we're talking about is the planning application for a major land development.
Okay. But they withdrew it.
They
They
did not
withdrew it from
withdraw
us.
The planning
Oh, they
application was
withdrew from
rejected.
us. Okay.
The special use permit application was withdrawn because they couldn't move forward with it because they have to have approval from planning first.
Brian, would it be fair to say that they got themselves on the agenda assuming that they were going to get a favorable recommendation, and it was already in place when they didn't get it on the 29th, although they waited till the last minute to pull themselves off? But
That's correct. It's a very common practice for people looking
To
to
make-
move
yeah.
directly from planning
Right.
one week
Right.
to zoning the
Okay.
next. In many cases, it works just fine to do it that way. In this case,
It's a gamble, sure.
they rolled the dice and it didn't happen, didn't
Okay.
come through for them.
But that brings up that question though, if they withdrew the special use permit application, okay, because they're appealing the planning board's decision, then they're gonna reapply for the special use permit, doesn't it then fall under the new criteria?
No, because you're reviewing it under the special use permit criteria, not the major land development criteria.
technically, it never got to us yet. That's the technicality. It doesn't make sense.
The special use permit criteria haven't changed, and that's what you're
Especially
evaluating.
from us.
Right. Oh, so the change was with the land use, not with special use criteria?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. All right, I'll have the secretary please read the next application into the record.
Next applicant is Mark Andrade. Owners the same. Location of property is AP 97, lot 19-2, Astor Lane. Zone is RR2. Existing use is single-family residence. Proposed use is same. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to construct a 55 by 26 addition.
Okay, the attorney for this application is here.
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Cronin. Nolan Pereira, Cronin RI, 1070 Main Street, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Are you going to give evidence, sir?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I do.
I apologize for my judgment.
No apology necessary. So the applicant and the owner, Mark and Cindy Andre, 2 Astor Lane, Rhode Island, out off Hope Furnace Road, on the edge of town. It's an application for a special use permit for an accessory family dwelling. AP 97, lot 19 is a little over 4 acres, 4.02 acres, let's call it 4. It's zoned in an RR2 zone. Presently, there's a large colonial home on the property, 2 stories, approximately 3,500 square foot home, and a swimming pool, as you can see depicted. They propose to build a single-story addition to the existing home, the living space for Mark Andre's mother. The addition is proposed to be approximately 55 by 26. You can can see a depiction of it on the screen. Just over 1,400 square feet, including a one-car garage, about 900 square feet of living space. Has one bedroom, small kitchen, small bathroom, small everything. One design element, which is important for the board to recognize, is that there's a two-car garage depicted visually there. There's only one car garage. The other garage door is a faux garage door for design purposes, so it looks like a garage. Behind that is a storage room and a laundry room and a bathroom. You can see it depicted here. The opposite the bedroom. It's a design element. It's to make it look like it fits with the surrounding home. But it's an important consideration for the board, and I just like to point it out early. The structure itself the proposed structure is connected to the existing structure by a connecting room, which connects the proposed structure to the garage of the existing structure. This project has been around the block a little bit. It was first brought to planning, zoning, and building in December of 2016. It had, at that time, some different design elements, and there was some conversation between the former planning and zoning staff and my clients about what that connecting room ought to look like. And then, kind of surprisingly, the state legislature passed an addition to the statute. So the general provision statute of the zoning law allows certain uses by right, and they added in-law apartments to that list. The language says, notwithstanding any other provisions of this chapter, an accessory family dwelling unit in an owner-occupied single-family residence shall be permitted as a reasonable accommodation for family members with disabilities or who are 62 years of age or older. That's the first sentence. The qualifications that we'll go over as we go along. But this was a big change to what the planning and zoning staff was looking at, as well as what my clients were looking at. The former planning and zoning staff advised that the project was permitted by the new statute, provided the Andreas stuck with the statute. And as a result of that, they were provided a form from the town, which they recorded in Town Hall, which is part of what's required to be recorded as part of the statute. It's called the Declaration of Accessory Family Dwelling Unit. They recorded it June 27, 2017 in Town Hall. After they recorded that, they moved down the list. They went to DEM, got a new septic approved for both the proposed use and the existing structure, and that has been completed on our site. Came back in August of 2017 to get a building permit from the town, and when that was presented, the zoning staff didn't think that this project fit, and they refused to sign that building permit. And that is what brings us before this board.
So they asked, we went for a permit, when?
August of 2017.
Okay, so...
And then
and they never got a permit?
They did not get a building permit.
They did not get a building permit?
No, the zoning staff...
But the foundation is there now, I understand?
That's right. Once the building permit was not allowed, they applied for and did receive a foundation permit from the town at risk. So it's a separate permit, a more limited permit, allows you to build a foundation, driveway, that kind of thing, not the actual building.
But is the individual advised when he gets a foundation permit that he may not receive a building permit for his structure?
Well, I can't speak to exactly what they're advised, but it is at risk. That's the word. At risk. That's right.
All right, so
that's the current
the individual
circumstances.
didn't take out anything.
Took on a foundation.
The foundation permit at risk.
And he put the foundation in.
He put the foundation, he put the septic system.
The septic system is in.